Data warehousing the easy way with DWiz. This quick tip, compiling an ETL group. When you compile an ETL group, you end up with a single process that runs everything in that group in an orderly fashion. This is the process that you will schedule to be run periodically, such as nightly or hourly, to keep your warehouse up to date. We will start by viewing the staging DB, expanding the ETL folder, and then expanding the connections folder. You will find that there are already a few connection definitions in the folder. We can edit these existing connections by double-clicking them. The staging and data mart connections are created when you first connect to these databases from DWiz. Likewise, the source connection is created when you first connect to the source database from DWiz. However, no username nor password is stored with these model connections. Although these connections will be needed for your ETL process, it is often desirable to use separate SQL logins for the ETL process. Also, if the connection is on localhost, then integrated security is often used instead of a password. You should edit each of these connections to specify the usernames and passwords that you want to be used by your ETL process. Afterwards, press Save, and the connection will be tested and saved. To define a completely new connection string, we could right-click the Connections folder and select New Connection. Now that our connection definitions are all set, we can define the ETL process. We view the staging DB, expand the ETL folder, and right-click on the Definitions folder. From the menu, we select New Definition. This brings up an ETL definition page. We select the ETL group that we want to compile. Now we give this new process an ETL name. The ETL name will be used in the compiled process name. I'll call it ETL Tutorial GP. We will check mark the options Staging Tasks and Data Mart Tasks. The staging tasks must consist of all the tasks needed in the staging DB, including extraction of differential changes from the source DB into the download tables, the transform of the data by the flat procedures, and the staging of the process data in the flat tables. The data mart tasks consist of all tasks needed in the warehouse DB, including detecting relevant changes in the flat tables and efficiently loading these changes into the warehouse tables. Next, we will select our desired connections for staging and warehouse. Afterwards, we must press Save to save the changes so far and enable the next section. After pressing Save, note that DWiz has added a row for the source, where we will select our desired source connection. We also need to specify a download method for the source. The preferred methods for SQL Server databases are change tracking or change data capture. Alternatively, the whole table download method is available for sources that do not support change tracking nor change data capture. Now we press Save once again. At this point, we have finished the definition, and we have two choices on how to create and implement the actual process. These choices are the easy way, which is a stored procedure, or the high performance way, which is an SSIS package based on BIML or BIML. Whichever way you choose, you can always come back to edit this definition page to create a new version. The easy way is great for projects with small source tables or where you're doing fast prototyping of a warehouse based only on a small initial portion of the source. However, when dealing with large or huge databases, you will want the benefits of using the high performance way. To go the easy way, we simply use this Create Group Procedure button in the Tab menu. This lightning with a green plus. When this button is pressed, DWIZ designs the ETL group procedure for you. The actual code is displayed and is complete. However, DWIZ gives you this opportunity to view the code and even modify the code if you really want to. The stored procedure has not yet been created in the DB. Notice that the procedure name is the name we gave it in the definition page. After looking at the code, press the Save Procedure button, which is this lightning over a floppy disk icon. When we click this icon, the stored procedure is actually created in the staging DB, and you can see it there using SQL Server Management Studio. No secrets. This group procedure runs the entire ETL group process and can easily be scheduled as a SQL job or run by a scheduled program. Now let's switch over to SQL Server Management Studio and see what our little warehouse looks like before we run the ETL group process for the first time. Here we see our hub fact table that is empty as expected because we have not yet run the ETL process. And now we look at a dimension table, our DIM customer table. It starts out with exactly one record. This is the not applicable or unknown record, indicated by a -1. Any facts that are not associated with a customer will have this -1 in the DIM customer key. Now let's find our new ETL group procedure and run it. It's in the staging DB under Stored Procedures. So let's refresh that. Now I will run it for the first time. Okay, let's see what happened. Going back to the fact invoice table, we see that it now has records. And then, looking at the DIM customer table, we see that it too has real records now. After this, each time the ETL group procedure runs, it will capture the delta changes from my source DB and update my data mart accordingly. If I had chosen the whole table download, the entire source table would be read on every run. Obviously, that is not recommended for large tables. So I always use either the change tracking or change data capture methods, unless there is a small source table that is periodically overwritten by the source. Note that if I want some source tables to be handled separately like this, I can simply create a separate ETL definition for those special cases. And that's all it takes to compile your ETL group. Enjoy!